What is the future for Halo Beauty? So I've been doing some research and seeing what's been happening behind the scenes, and Halo Beauty pretty much went radio silent from when their warehouses originally shut down last year because of COVID-19. Since then, we haven't really heard anything from the company. It's been very, very quiet all across social media. The silence of Halo Beauty and Tati Westbrook does also correlate with this huge lawsuit between Swanson, who is a business partner with Tati and her husband James, on Halo Beauty and Inside Out Labs, this whole company structure or structure of companies that was responsible for the Halo Beauty skin, hair and nails booster and the other various pills that they've released over the years. In addition to this, during my research process, I also came across some things a while ago of Tati Westbrook saying that she would be releasing new products every other month this year. And obviously we're on March and we haven't had a single product yet. So this product would have most likely been with Tati Beauty, which has been managed by Seed Labs, I believe, which is the same lab that was managing Kylie Jenner's line pretty much autonomously from what I understand, and obviously Colourpop they were quite famous for, and apparently Clinique at one point for their skincare. So it seems like, has the stock just been piling up? Like, when did Tati decide not to release it? And obviously, like, this most likely is not to do with COVID and more likely to do with the lawsuit that she's in. So there's this whole lawsuit. I'll go into it properly in a full video if you want me to, and just break through the documents and have a really critical analysis and just see what's been happening. I haven't gone through them with too much detail yet, but if you do want that video, just let me know down below. But it does seem like because of the lawsuit, she's not releasing new products now. So how does this all tie together? What is this lawsuit? Just to give you a bit of a background very briefly. My understanding, just from the outskirts of looking into this, is that Halo Beauty was a brand that I believe, was being managed by Inside Out Labs, which was, Tati's husband James was involved in, and Swanson, who's now suing them. And in the midst of all of this, allegedly, Tati and James were not able to raise credit to launch their brand. This is at least what something in the lawsuit alleges. So Swanson, who owned an equal share in the company as each of them, so 33.3% each between the three of them, making Tati and James majority shareholders. He allegedly, even with that smaller stakeholder in the company, actually fronted all the cash and raised all the funds to launch the brand. And obviously launching a brand for pills and these sorts of things would most likely have a little bit of a startup cost, if you already have the labs. And I'm sure he did have a background in something similar. Potentially it's not so difficult, but there's definitely still a startup cost associated with this type of thing. And apparently the whole idea of this was he was willing to put in the time and effort into Halo Beauty, even though it might not be that profitable for him. But the whole business deal was that he would also be responsible for managing the beauty side of things. So when she decided to launch her own beauty products and stuff like that, or potentially even skincare, it will be done through that shared company, through the Halo Beauty brand. This is where things get messy, and this is why Tati most likely hasn't released any new products and hasn't released any YouTube videos for a long time now. It seems from the outside like she's most likely just really tied up in this lawsuit. And if she was to continue to sell Halo Beauty products, it would most likely raise the valuation of the company for Halo Beauty. And one of the things that's been mentioned in the lawsuit is that Swanson, who's suing Tati and James, has alleged that James actually put loads of money into operating costs to actually devalue the company, which I'm pretty sure, I don't know if that's like fraud or, as the US people say, sedition. And in addition to this, if she's obviously being sued for launching these products through this other brand with Seed Labs, if she was to continue to sell products through this other lab, it's most likely that will be taken into account in the lawsuit as well, that despite the dispute happening, she is still acting against the original agreement, which would obviously look bad as well. Now, in terms of Tati, I believe that she actually fled the state that she was originally living in before, from what we did in a previous video, whereas Tati, I posted on my channel maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'll link it up here so you can find it if you want to. And I'll link it down below if you want to watch it after this one. She actually sold her house. I believe it was in the region of 4 million. It was at least listed for. So super big deal. Like, she's moved from the mansion, she's left state. God knows what's happening. Now, Halo Beauty is still active, but obviously the last thing we heard was the warehouse is shutting down. And given that Swanson did invest a lot of money into the brand, it wouldn't make sense for them to go radio silent, because that would not be in his best interest or anyone else's best interest, I guess, right? I mean, despite this, obviously Tati probably would have increased her sales if she came back to YouTube and was posting videos, but maybe that's not what she wants. You never know. Let's not forget Tati Westbrook. I did this whole video, I think it was probably about a year ago to this date, and she did this whole statement. Tati Westbrook saving the world. They had this coughs like a pill that was supposed to boost your immune system, immune booster, right? And they basically released it and they were like, oh, we were going to hold out until the winter for this product, but with COVID we just felt we had to release it now to strengthen your immune. And it was so wrong, like, to be making a statement in the midst of COVID and almost tying indirectly, directly, that your product has a claim to help with helping you survive COVID. It was so bad. And don't forget, this is a pill. This is not a pharmaceutical. This is not a medical grade product. That goes under a completely different sales category with completely different regulation. I'm pretty sure this is just classed as a food supplement, right? In the same way that, like, you know, orange peel or like green tea extract is a food supplement. I think we already spoke about this. Where are my shady glasses? Nutraceuticals are cancelled! Unacceptable! I'm over nutraceuticals. It's a stupid name. It's a vitamin pill. That's it. I'm over it. Everything is falling off my desk right now. I don't know if you're aware of the drama happening. I just keep like elbowing. It is really likely that Tati could be making a big return to YouTube in the future, but she hasn't made a return yet, and that does make me think it's because of the lawsuit. She's not even sort of done a tip-tap video. So obviously in the midst of this, she was in a ton of controversy last time she was in YouTube with the whole James Charles thing, Dramageddon, you know what happened. If she just win this lawsuit, potentially, I don't know what the plan is, but maybe they'll try and buy out Swanson from the company, from his 33.3% stake, which I guess as majority shareholders potentially they could do, but realistically he invested so much in the company that this might be, for example, why they might have allegedly played with the numbers to bring the operational costs up so the company has a much lower value, because then to buy out his share is obviously going to be much cheaper for them. He might not make back his original investment. You really never know what's going to happen, which would be pretty bad for him. It seems like he's done his work. Like Tati Beauty Guru, James, previously involved with managing, I think he used to originally manage Tati Westbrook and Candy Johnson, I'm pretty sure. And that's how they got together. So I'm not going to go into that drama because that's not my tea, but apparently that's where things began. And obviously Swanson seems to be the one that has the background in chemical engineering, running large-scale operations, companies, those sorts of things, hence his involvement with the brand. So in terms of Halo Beauty itself and where it's going to be going from now, as I said, they have still been active, but I do think that this is going to be really messy, especially dependent on what happens in the lawsuit. They try and force Swanson out of the company by buying out his stake. Given that James previously does have a history of going to court and losing with financial matters to do with his family, who knows what could happen with that context applied to this situation and this whole idea of the company being devalued. I mean, I personally think, again, I'm not a US attorney, but that sounds like fraud, right? So again, I don't know what's going to happen, but everyone has been very quiet. In terms of Halo Beauty as a brand, I think that given how much controversy Tati has been in, she's not just selling makeup. I think she could continue to still sell makeup, but I think to push heavily a vitamin pill, I think you really need to trust someone to commit to putting something in your body. Like topical cosmetics undergo so much regulation in certain parts of the world. For example, in the EU or in the UK, the regulation is very, 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 very strict for selling cosmetic items, topical cosmetic items. But I know in the US, the laws are much more relaxed, and even things like these vitamin pills as well. And I know people that have launched vitamin pills in the past of basic supplements just for the sake of making money. They don't care how clean the lab is, how clean anything is. And it's just, it's one of those industries where you have to trust the person making it. And I think a lot of people have lost trust in Tati after what's happened with James, after what's happened with Jeffrey. She was one of those people that had so much respect in the community for minding her own business and staying in her own lane. And even when she had drama, no one really cared that much, but I do think that the magnifying glass is always going to be on her from this point, in the exact same way that it's always going to be on Jeffrey, it's always going to be on James. Even if those people are only getting 100,000 views on their videos in the future, I think people are still going to be watching them, you know, to see what they're doing, because that's what they've generated. They've done things controversially and they've attracted a controversial audience that enjoy that stuff, right? And I think it's almost like you do the crime, you do the time, right? That's why here on Kuckian's courtroom, we just mind our own business over here. What do you think about this? I want to hear all the D down below. Let's just get straight into the comments. By the way, if you're enjoying the video, be sure to smash the like button every time we do a titty flies into space. And if you're enjoying my ASMR uploads on my second channel, link down below, be sure to also like all those videos, leave me a cheeky comment as well. So Haunted Jeep said, I agree, definitely has to do with the lawsuit. I think once it's settled, we'll hear back from her again. Very interesting. Few River 8, I'm getting a bit bored of these names. They're kind of boring. Do you remember that one? Some of them are just really funny. I'm still laughing about that gay porn Reddit comment that was made. Do you remember it ages ago? It was like 4 videos ago now, but it was like, I love how Jacqueline innovates in the beauty industry by finding new ways to F things up. I don't know, I just think that comment just deserves an Oscar. I'm just like, I hope the original poster sees my gratification. I am curious, when she released the sponge, she had said in the video that she had new product releases for the year coming out every other month. I wonder how much inventory she had to scrap and what it was exactly. Now, also, just to be clear here, there are cosmetic brands that rebrand items that were manufactured and are reaching their best before date. It happens in certain countries. We all remember, I'm not saying Urban Decay did this, but we all remember Urban Decay was selling their powder velvetizer, and it was a product that you're supposed to mix with your foundation to give it a velvety finish. How innovative. People peeled back the sticker and it was actually an Urban Decay setting powder with a sticker over it. So Urban Decay did a statement, and I'm sure they said, oh, we just reused the packaging, but like, it's obviously fresh product. But realistically, from like a critical standpoint, if we look at the situation, it's most likely the same product that didn't sell and they've put another sticker over it, right? Like, that's just what I'm thinking. And I'm imagining, given the kind of business ethics we've seen from Tati Westbrook in the past with the whole Ceramide RX R8 Ceramide fiasco, which you can see in my Tati Westbrook Halo Beauty channel playlist on my channel, which is a really good playlist, by the way. It wouldn't surprise me if she was to take products that she originally manufactured in prep for this year and just sold them. You know, not everyone uses universal batch codes and stuff like that, so I don't know, maybe just put a new sticker on them. I don't know. I mean, I can't say what someone else will do, but I can just say it wouldn't surprise me. There's certain brands that wouldn't do that, the big Louis Vuitton group brands, Chanel, Dior, Gucci. It's very, very unlikely that I imagine they would realistically rebrand products that didn't sell. They just have the kind of turnover where they just don't really need to do that. If they just scrap 20,000 units of something, it really doesn't matter. But for some of the slightly smaller brands, like below $500 million turnover or valuation, I imagine sometimes, you know, they get a bit precious over a product that doesn't sell and they take it personally. Someone said, anyone else get the feeling that Tati won't come back in any capacity? She has enough money to invest and make money in other areas without putting herself in a name in the spotlight. I think that's right, but I think this whole controversial, just I want to shake this off, no shades Tati, obviously. I think with that whole personality thing that we've seen, I don't think she would disappear. I feel like she would feel like it's a crime to the universe if she wasn't posting frequently on the internet and showing people how good she is. That's just how I feel. I'm sorry if that sounds offensive, but that's genuinely how I feel. I don't think she's the type of person like Jenna Marbles to sort of respectfully peace out when she's not having fun anymore. I think it's a power thing, and I think power is the only reason that she got in with Jeffrey and James in the first place and compromised her whole brand integrity. And I think habits tend to repeat themselves in these sorts of situations, and I don't see that not happening. I think if she comes back and says no more drama, I'm really sorry for what I've done, I'm not going to be associating with anyone, I just want to go back to normal, I feel like that would just be a cop-out for sort of being caught red-handed, you know, messing around with the whole James situation, Jeffrey situation, all the various other people. I kind of feel like it would be her way of trying to crawl back some of the old audience that left, and some people will turn back as well because she's familiar. Fat Fruity Pebble, finally, we've got a juicy name. I'm very happy with this. Fat Juicy Pebble, relatable, said, waiting for her to come out during all this James Charles and say I told you so. Yeah, that would be interesting, but definitely not gonna happen. Also, like, she laid it on thick with the James thing. It was the whole thing that compromised the integrity of the message that she tried to send out when she accused James Charles of being a predator, was that she timed the release of her attack very specifically when James had crossed her, and not when the event actually happened. She specifically did this when she felt that she'd been antagonized by James, from what we can see from the outside, promoting this multivitamin from her competitor that I'm pretty sure has a much higher turnover than it. Isn't really a competitor, being realistic, and also sells a completely different type of product to a different demographic. I just feel like every time we talk about that, I have to mention it. Anyway, what do you think about this situation? We're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. The whole Tati situation is just absolutely blowing up. I've been posting loads of videos on my channel recently about the situation, so definitely go and have a peek at my uploads if you want to catch up on some other stuff. If you're new here, I would definitely consider subscribing. I post beauty videos here all through the week. Such an amazing pastime, honestly. Imagine you could be watching some boring TV with some horrible advertisements. Instead, Kuckian's courtroom, cookie tea. It's all kicking off. We got Tati, we got James. What more would you want? Anyway, that is it for today's video. Really hope you enjoyed it. I will see you right now in the next one. So thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.